One of the first things we need to do right now is think about what is the main operator. The main operator is basically the idea of what operator controls the most stuff in a statement. And basically, what we can do is we can sort of think about the main operator is the one that controls the most stuff. In this case, like for example, tilde is always sort of the weakest if it's in front of individual letters, because all the tilde does is it controls this A. That's the only thing it's controlling. Okay? So it's the weakest. It controls one letter. And if it's in front of an individual letter, it's the weakest. Then what you have is you have relational operators, whether they're between letters by themselves or letters with tildes in front of them. Because in this case, the wedge here is controlling, the tilde is controlling the A, it's negating it, so it has control over it. But then the wedge is then sort of saying, well, wait, I'm showing the relationship between these two. And so I'm taking, the tilde is now subservient to me because I'm showing the relationship between tilde A and B, or B. So the wedge gets the most power. But then tilde can then reclaim the power because the wedge right now is the main operator. But what this is saying, look, tilde is in front of parentheses, it's negating everything in front of it, which means it's negating that wedge itself, making that tilde more powerful. The wedge is controlling tilde A and the letter B, and the tilde is controlling the A, but the wedge is being controlled completely by this tilde. It's saying, oh yeah, you got a statement here, but I'm negating the whole thing, so I take precedence. And so then you can go from there, and you can have something like, well, let's go ahead and do this. The tilde is taking the power of this entire statement, the relational operators between letters and statements inside parentheses. But the ampersand at this point is saying, but wait, I'm taking control of all of this and then relating it to C, and so I'm the most powerful operator. And so essentially, you go back and forth. Things between letters, things outside, but the thing that controls the most stuff is the main operator. And so finding the main operator is important because it's going to tell you the order in which we sort of take these things apart. If we know the truth value of the letters, we can then begin to evaluate this. And what we can do is we can take this and we can say, well, let's suppose that A is true. We can retype this. What we're going to do is we can retype it as A is true. Let's say B is false. And let's say C is, I shouldn't have written letter B, I should have put false. And the letter C is, well, let's say true. It doesn't make a real big difference. What we can do now is we would say, well, which one controls the least? Well, tilde true is the least powerful, operator at this point. It's in front of an individual letter. So we can then sort of begin to find the truth value of this entire thing by saying, all right, well, let's just find the truth value of that. Tilde T, if something's true, then not true would make it false. So it's false, wedge, false, ampersand T. Now, inside the parentheses, this is controlling more, so we need to go to the stuff inside the parentheses. And false, wedge, false is false, right? We keep the tilde out front, we put ampersand, we put T. And what's tilde false? Tilde false is true, ampersand T. And true dot true is true. And so we know that if A is true, B is false, and C is true, then we would know that this would be a true statement, because we can follow the operators and the truth function is determined. Okay? And that's basically all we do. Is if we know the truth value of the parts, we can break this down and follow the work all the way down. Okay? Let's do one more of these here. Let's suppose A is true again. Let's assume B is false, and let's assume, I forgot to copy this. Let's assume C is true as well. So if true, wedge, false that's the ones inside the parentheses, they're the weakest, because it's controlling that, but the dot is controlling more, so it's going to go last. True, wedge, false is true, which makes it dot true, and true dot true is true. We can find the truth value. From there, let's suppose B is true. Let's suppose A is true, and let's suppose Y is false. So now then, which one of these controls the least? Well, tilde is controlling everything inside, and the horseshoe is controlling the tilde and everything over here. So that's the main operator, so we're going to do it last. Tilde would be the main operator on this side, but the triple bar would be the weakest. So we have true, horseshoe, true triple bar false. True triple bar false is false, so it's true horseshoe tilde F, and true horseshoe tilde F. Tilde F is true, and then that makes true triple bar true is true, and so this one would be a true statement. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. Now the other thing you can do to save yourself some space, and you don't have to do it this way, but you will need to learn it by the end, but the first few you don't have to do it. What we oftentimes do is we would just go below it, and we'll give the truth values. I think this is the way we did it. And then we would come back here and we would sort of just keep below it. So we can do this all in one line. True wedge false is true. And so then we would just sort of put a little strike through on these. Oops. I'm trying to remember which one's strike through. Not remembering which one is strike through. But we would essentially basically just take this and we'd say, okay, so this is the main operator now. And this is, so it's true dot true, and we could just put below that as true. And then what we would do is we would put a box around this. So in this case, I can't do this, I need to remove these. And then we would just basically put a little box around it and make this the main operator and say, here you go. Here's the main operator. We could just underline it. That'd probably be fine. Maybe bold while the rest isn't. And then we know that this is a true statement. And so instead of having to go line by line, you can just do it all in one line. Don't do that at first. Maybe do 5 or 10 without showing all your work, and then go back and do it right below. Okay? And that's how that works.